Hagia Sophia in Turkey has become an active mosque for the first time in 85 years. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's decision has sparked massive controversy across the globe. Let's dive into the long, exciting history of this famous monument to learn a little bit about why this decision has been so controversial. Hagia Sophia was first built in the 6th century as a Christian Eastern Orthodox cathedral. This was back when Istanbul was still called Constantinople and was the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire. 700 years later, Hagia Sophia was raided during the Fourth Crusade and was declared a Roman Catholic cathedral instead. It wasn't until the 1400s that the Ottoman Empire came to Constantinople, raided Hagia Sophia again, and finally declared it a mosque. This may seem like a lot of back and forth for poor Hagia Sophia, but it's actually pretty common for ancient temples and places of worship to change hands and functions over the years as different nations go in and out of power. Now let's talk about the controversy. In 1934, when Turkey was trying to become a more secular state, Hagia Sophia was turned into a museum, celebrating both its Christian and Muslim history. UNESCO declared it a World Heritage Site, and it became one of Turkey's largest tourist attractions, drawing in 3.7 million visitors last year alone. But over the last 15 years, there has been a lot of conversation about how the site should be used. Should it be a museum, a mosque, a Catholic church? This year, Turkey finally decided to convert Hagia Sophia from a museum back into a mosque. This means it's once again being actively used for Muslim prayers. So why are people so upset about this? Well, for years, Hagia Sophia has been seen as a symbol of shared cultural heritage and unity between peoples of different faiths. Many are saying that turning Hagia Sophia into a mosque diminishes Turkey's diversity. It used to be a monument celebrating Muslim and Christian history. And now, one of those religious groups is being excluded from the building's heritage. For its part, UNESCO is concerned about the conservation of the monument. It feels that now that Hagia Sophia is actively being used as a place of worship, this will have a negative impact on the, quote, universal value of the site. When the site first became a mosque in the 15th century, the Ottomans covered up the Christian mosaics on the walls. When it later became a museum, the original mosaics were once again revealed. Symbols from the two different religions now exist side by side on the same walls, which reflect the monument's shared history. Will using Hagia Sophia as a place of Muslim worship erase its Christian heritage? It's difficult to say. The Turkish government has said that the Christian imagery inside Hagia Sophia will continue to be preserved, and the site will remain open to visitors of all nationalities and faiths, even with the return of Muslim prayer services. There are historical sites in the world today where religious practice still takes place. The Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is still an active Catholic church, as well as a major tourist attraction and World Heritage Site. But people remain concerned about Turkish intentions behind this decision. Many worry that President Erdogan is using Hagia Sophia to make a political statement and score points with his more conservative religious supporters. Several historical objects symbolizing Ottoman conquest were used at the first Friday prayer at Hagia Sophia's reopening. Ali Irbas, a newly appointed imam of the mosque, held an Ottoman sword during his sermon, and 2 green flags were hung on the minbar of the mosque. After this display, there was a fear that Hagia Sophia was turned back into a mosque to remind people of a time when the Ottoman Empire was at the height of its power, and that Hagia Sophia will become a symbol of conquest. On the other side, many Turkish Muslims disagree. They believe that Hagia Sophia's status as a mosque and these symbols are linked not to Islamic conquest, but rather to Turkish independence. Hagia Sophia has always had a political history. Just like many ancient monuments, time and time again, it has been used to send a message about power. Roman Emperor Justinian first built Hagia Sophia after a series of revolts in Constantinople that nearly ended his reign. By building this grand cathedral on the same site where these revolts took place, Justinian was making a statement about his own might and power. to those who opposed him. And remember, when Hagia Sophia was first raided, it was not by Muslims, but by Catholics. This building has always had a deep political history as well as a religious one. So that's what's going on right now with Hagia Sophia. But this controversy is not a new one. It once again raises a question that humans have been asking themselves for centuries. What is the best way to preserve and value our cultural heritage? Nothing in history is ever stagnant. As cultures and power structures change with time, so do the artifacts and monuments we have created. The purpose of ancient structures is always evolving to suit the needs of the people and the times they live in. So the question is, how best to keep our history and heritage alive? When Hagia Sophia was a museum, it was forbidden for any religious group to hold services inside. Do we best honor the value of a historical monument by continuing to use it as originally intended, as the Hagia Sophia will be used as a place of worship? Or do we honor the value of a historical monument by preserving it as a relic of the past? On the one hand, if we continue to actively use these ancient sites, as our cultures grow and change, the purposes of these sites may also change. With that comes the possibility of the site's history being partially lost or accidentally destroyed. For instance, the question could be raised, why reconvert Hagia Sophia into a mosque when it was initially used as a Christian church for nearly 1,000 years? Well, if we're talking about worship, a mosque would allow for the site to be most well used, since most people in Turkey are Muslims. But things get tricky when we start choosing one aspect of a site's history over another. When Hagia Sophia was a museum, it was used to educate visitors about its shared Christian and Muslim past. Both sides of its history were celebrated. Choosing to use it as a mosque alone clearly places an emphasis on its Muslim heritage, celebrating only one side of its history. When we start picking and choosing which parts of our history to celebrate, we risk losing the bigger picture and the larger historical significance of these sites. Consider for a minute how we picture ancient Greece. We tend to imagine the architecture from the Athenian Acropolis, the Parthenon. These are sites that were created in the classical period, what is known today as the golden age of Greek history. But the Parthenon's history is just as complex as Hagia Sophia. The Parthenon was first a Greek temple, then a treasury, then a Christian church, then a mosque. The Parthenon has been many things, including a Greek temple. Yet history remembers it as it was when Athens was at its height, not as a site of worship, but as a symbol of democracy. Would using the Parthenon as an active place of worship today change how we think about its history? And is it better to only remember that one period of history instead of the Parthenon's wider, more complex heritage? What is the best way to protect and value our shared human heritage? Is it to prioritize one aspect of a site's history, or to try to remember all the elements of a site's complex past? Is it by continuing to use these sites and letting their purpose and meaning change and evolve with time? Or do we try to preserve our history by keeping those sites safe and unchanged? Maybe there's a way to do both. What do you think? Till next time, I'm Sophia Ali for Let the Quran Speak.